I think it's unlikely, but I do think there is one particular path. But before, I'm going to throw such a curveball at this that I want Brew to go ahead. Brew, you go ahead, because what I say is going to be so mind-blowing that it's going to just ruin whatever take you had. So you go first, and then I'll go.
I'm curious, but yet a bit insulted. But nevertheless, here it is.
Okay.
All right. First of all, I got to throw this out. I do think the odds are that Kyrie remains in Brooklyn. So I got to put that out there. And obviously, if he's there, KD will be there. But let's assume he's not. I don't think it's automatic that Kevin Durant will force his way out, okay, or ask out, request the trade. I think it's possible, but I think he'll give him a shot because, again, we just talked about signing trades. If they get a favorable sign and trade, and I threw out a few names, is it realistic? I don't know. But if they got, say, Bam and Kyle Lowry or Bam and Tyler Hero from Miami for Kyrie, then, yeah, I think Kevin Durant stays. If they do a deal with Philadelphia and got Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey, you still got Ben Simmons, I think that's enough for Durant to at least stay for a year, at least. And remember, Durant doesn't have the threat to, like, he's got 4 years left on his deal. So any team that wants to trade for him will not be worried about him leaving after a year and then having given up a lot of stuff to get him, and he's gone after a season. So Durant can't just hand pick where he wants to go. The Nets would have a lot of say and could send him wherever the best deal is for them. So Durant has to be careful about just requesting a trade immediately. So I think, Nick, likely he would give them 1 year, especially if they got something back in return for Kyrie. And then after that, if it doesn't work out, he's looking to move on.
I also think that's the most likely outcome. But I learned two very important things from yesterday's show, or two things from yesterday's show made me think. The first one was, and Wilds, I'm sure you noticed this, Brew hates Chicago. He threw Chicago out there with the worst cities in the NBA.
No,
he was like, they could send you to Detroit, Orlando, Chicago. And I'm like, God, dog, man, that might be the third best city in America. The other thing that made me think was you guys talking about a Kevin Durant backlash. And like that, he dealt with backlash for leaving Oklahoma City. Now he's dealing with some retroactive backlash for leaving the Warriors. Would he deal with backlash for leaving Brooklyn? So it got me thinking. And I want to describe someone's career, and you tell me who I'm describing. Made the finals at 22 years old as arguably the best player in the league already. Won an MVP a couple years later. Then in a shocking move, left the team that drafted him for a championship culture and won a couple titles and a couple finals MVPs. But a lot of people feel like, maybe should have won more. Then in a somewhat shocking move, left again and set up shop on the coast for his business and basketball empire. I just described Kevin Durant and LeBron James. So why have these moves been dealt with so differently? Because Durant skipped a key step, the homecoming. And if Kevin Durant were to say, I want to leave and I want to go to Oklahoma City, hey, you know how LeBron had a young Kyrie Irving? There's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know how LeBron had a young Andrew Wiggins that was flipped for a veteran? Hey, is that Chet Holmgren right there? And while LeBron was able to sign outright with the Cavs, Durant would have to be traded. Luckily, Sam Presti's got roughly 17 future first-round picks. And, by the way, good young players. Josh Giddey's good. People like Poku. Trey Mann's good. It would be a trade that actually could make sense for Brooklyn. And if you're Durant, the only place you could go where there would be zero backlash, he's like, you know what? Let me go try to make things right in OKC. And by the way, I think that team could be really good.
So good.
I think KD plus Shai, and then you either keep Chet or you flip Chet, who is an amazing asset, for a ready-made star or semi-star like you did, like they did Wiggins for Love. I understand people be like, you're just copying LeBron. Well, who greater to copy than the greatest basketball player and basketball businessman ever? Seems like it makes sense.
That's great.
So Wilds,
I mean,
OKC is not an
take.
insane idea. It's not an insane idea.
Okay. It's not only it's not an insane idea. It's one of the favorite takes you've ever had on this show. I'm going to mail you an edible arrangement. I like that take so much. Here's the other reason I like it. Sam Presti. Remember he had a press conference, or it was like a little viral video. It may have been the most boring viral video of all time, so maybe it didn't reach viral video status. But he's like, this is a place you can come back to, whether you played here for years or you played here for on a 2-way contract or a 10-day contract. We want to be a home and a place where people are. And it's true. Like, I think Russ just kept his charity there and just had a ceremony there. So Russ still has ties there too. It seems like a very welcoming place. The franchise wants to keep in touch with their great players. So I love the idea. Then the question is, what is the viability of it and chances of it? I'm going to give it 3%. Brew, are you going over? I love it, but I'm putting it at 3%.
Go ahead, Brew.
I think that's a fair number. Look, I'll admit, Nick, it sounds nice. It sounds romantic. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think KD would want to go back to OKC. Remember, LeBron was a true homecoming. Not just the team that drafted you, your hometown
Of course,
team.
it's his hometown.
That's the difference. And that's a huge difference. So, and then also, I also disagree that Durant will get backlash if he goes anywhere else. I don't think he will. Now, if he goes back to the Warriors or if he went to the Lakers or,
Milwaukee.
a team that would be so stacked, Milwaukee, then it would look bad and he would get ripped. But if he just goes to a good team with a chance, how about Phoenix? How about Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton for Kevin Durant? So you got Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, and Mikal Bridges and a few other guys. You think he get ripped, Wilds? It's just Chris Paul.
They were just in the finals.
What, 36 years old?
I'm telling you, can't do it.
No,
I don't think he get ripped.
You can't go to the Celtics. You can't go to the Sixers.
I don't think he get ripped.
You can't go to the Heat.
No. But by the way, I don't think Phoenix is trading. I don't think Phoenix is trading Devin Booker for Kevin Durant. By the way, I'm not saying they would, because Bruce said, I don't know if you heard him, Wilds. Bruce said they're trading Booker and Ayton for Durant because Durant's gonna be 34 years old, and Devin Booker was just first team All NBA. I agree with you, Brew. He wouldn't get ripped if they are trading two of their three best players for him. But by the way, if I'm Durant, I'd rather be with. If you're trading Booker and Ayton, I'd rather be with SGA, young guys, and whatever they get for Chet than 36-year-old Chris Paul.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.